In times like these, a lot of people lean on their faith and the support of their church for guidance and hope.
And not far from where Tom is, the First Christian Church of Mayfield sustained catastrophic damage, but the congregation still gathered Sunday. Dr. Milton West is the church's senior minister. He joins us now. Dr. West, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You know, we are looking at these pictures, really horrific devastation that your community has gone through. You held a prayer service yesterday morning in the church parking lot. So let's just take this a step at a time. First of all, how are you and your parishioners doing right now?
I think they're beginning to cope with the reality of what has happened. And they're certainly grieving and sad over the loss. So we are doing what we can to keep people's spirits up, gather together as often as we can safely. 4 of our families in our church lost their homes, and so we are trying to help them as best we can. Others sustained damage. Some lost their automobiles, so it has affected us.
And the building, went through such catastrophic damage. But tell us about, there's a beautiful altar that somehow stayed intact.
Yes, that's our communion table, and it has a wonderful carving of the Last Supper on it, Michelangelo's Last Supper. It's the center of our worship experience. It survived, along with a cross that sits on it. So our goal for the day is we hope to be able to get it out of the building and preserve it along with a few other artifacts. So our building is rapidly losing what little structural integrity it has left. So we are going to try to get at least that out today before we do anything else.
Dr. West, on your church's Facebook page, you wrote, "Our building is not the church. We are the church." How have you counseled your parishioners as we're getting ready to celebrate Christmas, and there's not a lot to celebrate right now?
You know, I guess that depends on your perspective. You know, our faith gives us reasons to experience joy. All the normal emotions you go through when you lose something of value, that your spiritual home, for lack of a better term. What you give them, what you try to do is have them reframe, rethink what it all means and not to overinterpret it. You know, there are a lot of people out there who would say that this is a sign from God that something is wrong. We do not embrace that notion at all. Our faith is positive, and God is never the author of bad things in people's lives. So we grieve, we cry, and we hug, and we pull ourselves together and go to the next step of trying to recover and rethink where we want to be as a church. But our people have stayed strong during all of this.
Dr. West, for people who are watching and they want to help, what can we do?
I think prayer is always welcomed, but there are some relief organizations here that I'm sure you have access to in your studio. If people want to help our church specifically, we have an online app we use called givelify.com. Certainly put in First Christian Church, Mayfield, Kentucky, and follow the prompts there. But I think the thing is, more than we can do anything else, is certainly be prayerful and let this serve as what I think is going to happen, to be frank with you, is I think our people are in an age of where people are so fragmented and divided in their political, theological, and personal views. I think this gives people an opportunity to pull together for the common good, and those differences don't matter when you're trying to rebuild your lives. And so I think we're going to see that diminish here in Mayfield for quite some time.
That was beautifully said. Dr. West, thank you so much for your time this morning. I know it's a busy time, and love to you and your congregation.
Thank you for helping us get the word out.
Absolutely. It's tough.
It really
is. With 2 weeks before the holiday.
Yeah, and you know, this is one of these things where, unfortunately, you know, this tornado, what we call Tornado Alley, is unfortunately moving a little further east to areas that are more populated like this. And you know, we had April-like temperatures last Friday.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. You know, growing up, I remember in Kansas, we would have these drills, on Mondays at noon. But I don't remember tornadoes in December.
Well, this is extremely rare.
Yeah.
If this in Mayfield turns out to be a Category 4 hurricane, and I should say tornado, and in fact the National Weather Service in Paducah has called for structural engineers so that they can assess the damage. So that kind of leads us to think this could be a 4. That unfortunately we haven't seen something like that since 1957.
My goodness.
So in the entire country. So unfortunately, with climate change, we're probably going to be seeing more of this.
It's incredible how positive he was able to be, Dr. West, coming out of that, because you have to. You can only go in 2 directions, whether it's, and that altar is so symbolic that they're taking that out, just something, a center for the community. So
when they rebuild. Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.